This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Southern Magnolia Smiles, a locally owned and operated dental office right here on Washington Avenue in Ocean Springs. Dr. Robbie Williams and his friendly staff have a number of different customizable treatment options and provide a comfortable environment just for you.
Check them out at their website, southernmagnoliasmiles.com, or find them on Facebook and Instagram. Now let's jump into the episode.
What's up, everybody? It's the Brownwater Banter Podcast. I am Jared Seymour.
I am Joey Cates.
And we're here with Tim from Real Smooth Real Repair and Servicing. Is that right?
That's
I nailed
perfect,
it.
guys.
Having
Perfect.
it on the hat made it so much easier.
Perfect. Cue card, man.
Yeah,
Cue card.
that's right. Man, Tim, I think we met at the Biloxi Boat Show for the first time,
did.
right? You were in the Coastal
Angler's booth.
That's right.
With the
David.
rapscallion David over there at Coastal Angler, right?
That's right.
My good buddy.
And you had your setup just like this set up at his booth, and we started talking, and it's like, look, we got to get you in here and let you know what you do because
fantastic too.
It's an absolutely great service, something that we need a lot around here with people with real repair, right?
Yeah, the water's just out the back over here, right?
That's right, and that salt water can
Salt does a number on
tears
things.
everything up.
That's right, man. So I always like to get started with like asking people their backgrounds and what they, how they got to where they are now with your business here.
Sure,
but
sure.
Have you been doing this your whole life?
Well, I've been servicing other people's reels for 31 years. Probably.
Okay.
I'm 47, so from the time I was 16, I've been working on somebody else's reels.
Nice.
Sweet.
The problem with me around here is I'm a Yankee, right? So, so
I know it's a little twang.
a little twang,
Yeah.
and either people think I'm from New Orleans or they know I'm from not around here, right? And I've been down here 24 years.
Oh,
right?
you're
And
part
so,
of the club.
So,
You're
well,
in the
not
club.
according to my wife and her family.
You've been
right?
adopted
And
in.
they
Wow.
have another word for me which starts with a G, but I won't say that.
Okay.
Because I haven't left. See, that's the other thing, right?
Right.
Most of them come and go. I haven't come. So
Right.
I haven't gone. So, but I started out as the way I got down here. I was a tugboat captain in New York, and I worked with a guy from Pascagoula, Mississippi, and he kept hounding me to come down here for Mardi Gras, and I kept telling Alvin, "Look, dude, I can drink up here. I'm not coming to Mississippi to drink, right?"
Right.
And of course, I didn't know anything about Mardi Gras.
Thank you. I was about to say, little did you know.
Well, look, I'm here. Look, 25 years later, I'm still here, right? So
One
something
Mardi
happened.
Gras
That's
changed
right.
your life.
Something
forever.
happened, right? And that's the truth, right? That's the truth, right? So we couldn't do it because of the way our schedules were, but I changed companies, and he's like, "You got to come down. It's Mardi Gras." And I'm like, "All right." So I came down, and like the first night, he had a little get together at his house, and I met my future wife that night, right?
Sweet.
So typical story, right? Love at first sight. If she's listening to this, she'll laugh.
Yeah.
But true story, right? True story. And so I did the tugboat thing for 3 years, and I was never home. I
Right.
was gone at least
it's
8
tough
months out of the
schedule.
year, and it wasn't fair. She's very active in the community with stuff and junior auxiliary and all kinds of things, and I never was around for any of it. So I always built houses on my days off, so I went back into construction and had a construction company for about 10 years. And in 2007, 2008, the economy kind of dropped out around here, and it was tough going, and I didn't want to wait for it to come back, and so a bunch of my friends worked sheriff's department, got a job at sheriff's department at the jail, worked at the jail for a year, and luck fell upon me, and I got a canine that year, and,
Oh, wow.
and I had a bomb detection canine for 8 years at the sheriff's department, and I worked up to sergeant, and I was over inventory and fleet, and was very big part of the training team at the sheriff's department. And we taught at the state academies, and we had our own academy and firearms instructor, use of force instructor. I mean,
Wow.
I was big hip deep into it, and then of course, you know how things go in certain places where the work environment isn't what you want, and
Right.
different things. And so I changed. I still work for the county. I'm the project coordinator for one of the district supervisors, who was gracious to take me in when he was looking for somebody, and knew I was a hard worker, and lost all my overtime that I was making teaching at the sheriff's department.
Right.
So, and around that same time, David,
Right.
over at Coastal Angler, he's a fireman for the county. That's his regular job, and we're friends. And he's like, "Look, man," he's like, in 2018 in November, he's like, "Man," he says, "I'm fixing to get this magazine. Would you think about advertising?" And I'm like, nah. I said, I'm busy enough. And he says, "Well," he says, "think about it." He says, I'd like to put you an ad in there."
Right.
He says, "You do great work. You do my work." And he's also a charter boat captain,
Right.
real Southern. So I thought about it, and I said, what the hell, and it's blown up from there. Man.
Really?
It's
So prior to advertising, though, you were still doing it on the
I
side.
was doing it on the side, just not promoting it, and I
Right.
had
Kinda
my
like
yearly
friends and
customers.
family kind of thing?
Well, friends and family, and then they would recommend to people I didn't know, but it wasn't as intense as it's been over the last year. Right, 2019, I was blowing and going because we started ads.
Right.
January 1st, 2019.
People heard about you.
Oh
People
man,
found out
And
about you.
just like in construction, though. quality service and quality work.
100%.
You get a good
Word
framer.
gets around. It doesn't. It's
that
not.
good framer's gonna get it.
You know, and then the need here, right? Because like you said at the beginning of the podcast, where do we live? Right, we live on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, right next to Louisiana, right next to Alabama, and what does everybody just about do around here?
Right.
Everybody's out fishing or doing something with fishing, right?
Yep.
And I can, everybody, but a large percentage of the population, and so the need is there.
Right.
And it's been fantastic. It's
been
been fantastic. And I would never leave here, man. I love Mississippi. Like I said, I've been out here 24 years, and my wife and I, April, we married 21 of those years.
Nice.
Congrats,
and
man.
appreciate it. And it's I love it here, man.
I'd
never go
You're
back.
not the first person I've heard say
I'd
that.
never go back.
Yeah.
And I love it up there. Don't get me wrong. Now,
Right.
I still go back to see my family, and some of my, of course, my childhood close friends are up there, and I miss those guys. But they come down here, and I go up there, and my dad comes down at least once a year. But I, if something were to happen to my wife or whatever, I would stay. I would never go back. And not because I don't like it up there. I just like it here better.
That's right. That's right. Hey, he said it, folks. We didn't prompt him to say
that's
that.
right,
So
that's right.
That just means it's real.
So
That's right.
Giants or Jets?
Neither.
Really?
Nice.
Because both of those teams are New Jersey teams,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And so my whole life I've been a Patriot fan
Oh.
because New England, right?
That's
New
right.
England, right?
Yeah.
Long Island, where I grew up, in New England. But I've been converted down here to a Saints fan,
Thank
of
you.
course. And
All right.
and I have to say that in my tenure here, I am an organic Saints fan. I'm not forced into it by people. I truly like the Saints, and of course, I'm also an LSU fan, which is going to offend some folks.
That's going to hurt some
But
feelings, too.
but
Some
and that's
people
also
like it.
organic.
Yeah.
I didn't watch college football until I moved down here, and of course, some of my friends are alma mater LSU, and so we're
Right.
just diehard.
So you had to.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I chose to do that. 'Cause
Right.
I like the team, and the Saints are the same way. And I always thought they were underdogs up north anyway. And the fact that they actually won the Super Bowl while I've been down here is fantastic.
Right.
They need to do it again.
Yeah, they should.
They need to do it again.
Kind of been pulling for that for a
You
few
know,
years.
but, you
yeah,
know.
that goes one of two ways. Usually people that transplant down here, you either
Like 'em
buy
or hate
it
'em.
or hate
That's
'em.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And
I
I
know
just,
a couple hate 'ems.
I went the other way, and I usually go my own way, but that was the way to go down here, and I enjoy rooting for them.
Hell yeah.
Been to a couple of games and really enjoy New Orleans.
So back to the real repair.
Yeah.
All right. So you've been doing it since you were about 16 years old, you said.
Mm-hmm.
You've actually was telling us before we started recording, you've got a full machine shop at your house
Yes,
too?
sir. Yes, sir.
So
Sure do.
walk us through just like some real repair stuff. Like
wow.
give us some stuff, some
Yeah,
basic
man.
stuff.
Well, the funny thing about real repair is like, and this happens every month, but some months it happens more where people, I'm going to lube my reel up, and they open it up and then I get it in a bag. Looks
Yeah.
like a
I've done
like a
that
Swiss,
quite a few
like a
times.
Swiss watch pile of springs and clips and screws, right? And
I messed up.
Yeah.
well,
Fix this.
Chris Vetters talked to us about the same
Yeah.
thing with
Did
outboard
he?
motor people trying to repair
oh
their
yeah,
outboard
yeah.
motors.
There's especially late model reels. Now some of the older ones are simple and but there's so much going on inside a reel, right?
Yeah.
And the functions in all of the reels are basically the same, right? Your anti-reverse, your gearing, but all the different manufacturers have their own little niche in there, their own little tweak that makes it theirs, right? And you have to know all those,
Right.
You can't take apart somebody's stuff and then not fix it and give it back to them. That's not good for business.
No, they're probably not going to like
and,
that.
And the only way, like I said, I've been doing it for so long that even when you get a new reel, and of course you can go online, just like gunsmithing, because I do that as well. You can go online and see how to take anything apart, put it back
Right.
together. But if you don't know actually how it works and the functions of each part, you can't diagnose what's wrong with the reel, right? If you just take it apart and something's not blatantly broken or something, and if something was missing or had fallen out, you wouldn't know because you've
Right.
never taken
Right.
one apart. And so having the background in machining and engineering, which I have a degree from the State University of New York in electromechanical design, but it's all about engineering and it's all about how things work. And so having that knowledge really makes it better for me working on your reel because I can generally diagnose what's wrong with it. And of course, every reel has its things that's what's going to be wrong with it. Like if you give me a Corrado and it's the button's not working, I know what's wrong with it before
Right.
I even open it up. There's only one or two things, and that's it. It's either a bearing or a winding bridge. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've seen it so many
Because
times.
I've seen it so many
Right.
times. It's like an auto mechanic or
Right.
you get used to these things, and so that allows me to do a really good job. But it also allows me to have quick turnaround time, which is one of my hallmarks, right?
Right.
If it's not busy, like it's getting real busy. But my normal turnaround time is less than 4 days, right? So
Are you a one-man band?
I am a one-man band.
Okay.
I am it. I don't and this is going to sound weird, but I'm a control freak when it comes to that. I'm not going to put my name on something and let somebody else do it. When I built houses, I did the same thing. I was a hands-on guy every day. Sure, I had guys that worked for me, but I was there every day.
Right.
And if it didn't get done the way I wanted it, it got changed.
Right.
Because my name's on the sign outside, not anybody else's.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't want people to say things like, well, he's not really working on it. He's got 2 guys working on it or whatever.
Right.
I do everything myself.
So you take the praise and the blame.
Absolutely. and that it's a service business, right?
Right.
And so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have 100% customer satisfaction, because there's always going to be people that you can't please. And I've had a couple of people over the year, this last year, I could probably count them on 2 fingers that I couldn't make happy. And so what do? I just don't charge them. Your reel works. You're not happy with it because you're saying something's wrong with it or whatever it is,
Right.
Yeah.
I've had one guy bring the same reel back 3 times, and he was doing something to it that kept breaking it.
Okay.
And he wanted me to fix it for free. And the 3rd time I had to say to him, look, I'm not doing this anymore. This is not something I've done. I said, you're breaking the same part.
Right.
And he didn't like that, and I just told him, I said, don't worry about it. I'm not charging anyway. I'm
Right.
I'm not gonna spite my nose to cut my face on.
Right.
No one's gonna say to me that I stuck him,
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
I'm gonna make the customer happy, and if that means eating parts and labor, that's just the nature of the business sometimes. But luckily to say, I can count the number of unhappy folks on 2 fingers, and
out of the many
Yeah.
reels that you fixed.
well, I think I had last year just, I don't know. And this is not individual reels. I think I had for my first year of advertising, I had over 300 invoices last year.
Wow.
Which that's pretty significant. From going, from 2 or 3 a month to my, to that. That's and of course then it's a lot of time, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
You enjoy it though, right?
I that's the thing. And I don't know who said it, but if you enjoy what you do, you're not actually working, right?
Right.
Yeah, you never work a day in your life.
And that's why I left the sheriff's department, because I loved that for many, many years. And then it got to be where the work environment, I didn't enjoy going there. The work was still good, but the environment was not good. And so
it got to be a job.
Well, it was always a job, but it wasn't a job that I enjoyed going to every day.
Yeah.
And you only get to go around the world once. You only get to have, and I'm going to be happy.
That's
There's
right.
no point in not being happy.
That's right.
And I have options. You got options. People may not realize it, but they got options. You can do other things.
That's a big statement right
And
there. I
so,
like that. That's been a kind of theme on this show I've noticed over the time that we're talking to people. We didn't plan it this way, but a lot of people, it's like their track through life is, I guess that's normal human life, but they start out here, they end up here, they wasn't happy with this, they find their happiness, and then here they are fixing riding reels, you know what I mean?
And this is something that I've learned probably the last 10 years. You say 5, but I've been saying it for many years now, so probably the last 10 years. And it took me a long time to figure this out. And as I got older, I figured it out. But everything in your life, regardless, good, bad, or otherwise, happens for a reason. We don't know what it is. You may not be able to put a notion to it at the time, but everything happens for a reason. And most of the bad things that have happened to me in my life were results of choices that I made.
Yeah.
Things happen, right? Some things, you can't control, of course, but the big, I can't believe this happened is usually, you shouldn't have done that. You did that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, and so those things have pushed me to where I am, and I'm very happy.
Well, that's
generally.
good. Yeah. Generally
Don't
speaking.
ask my wife that, but no, I'm kidding. She's happy too. But like I said, the path that I've taken to get here where I am here in Mississippi is a hysterical path, and I wouldn't change it.
That's cool.
I wouldn't change it. Hell, I got to meet you guys.
That's
man.
right.
I mean,
that's a win in and of itself.
Heck yeah, man. If I was still, I liked you guys right away when we met the other day. I thought, I just, you know how you get like, I'm a bad first impression person. I think that comes from law enforcement, where I get a vibe from people right away, and probably on one finger I count the number of times I've been wrong.
Right.
Over the years with the vibe. You
Right.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
You meet somebody and you're
100%.
like.
Judgment of character right off the
Where you
bat.
go, yeah, but I got a good vibe from you guys right when I met y'all.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. You meet some people and you just instantly
know, man.
Like you're
Oh,
one of
like
us. Yeah, you're gonna be the.
You know, I go back to David because it's the same thing. I mean, he works in a fire station in my district at the county, and I went in there one day. I probably think to use the bathroom. To be totally honest with you. And of course, I saw his boat outside, right? And this is many years ago, and I went in there and he's like, yeah, man, go ahead. Yeah, whatever, man. And he, of course, they're always cleaning something or doing something there. And he was busy doing something. And I said, hey, man, is that your boat out there? And of course, I didn't even see that it said charter service on it. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, I'm a charter boat captain. I said, yeah. I said, you ever get your reels repaired?
I know a guy.
Yeah.
He goes, no. He says, yeah. He says, I'm always looking for somebody. And I said, well, I do that. I gave him my old card. And he's like, all right, man. He goes, hold on a minute. He goes, I got 4 you can do. He says, take them right now. He says, they're messed up. And I'm like, all right. And that was like the beginning of another chapter for me, you know, and it's been nothing but great stuff, and I love those spontaneous interactions with people. You just don't know, and like it pushes you to where you are, and you just never know.
Yeah, we're meeting a ton of people just doing this. We're
you guys
tons
got
of contacts,
and different
tons of networking
stuff too, right? Not just whatever water sports related. You guys are doing all kinds of stuff because I've been
business to whatever, but,
which is fantastic.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
What do you see? Like you work on all reels, right?
Yeah.
From
anything that you. I haven't gotten one yet that I haven't been able to work on. Now some we can't get parts for, and of course I can make parts. Like I told we talked about being machine, and I've done that for several of my customers, but. There hasn't been anything come through the shop that I haven't been able to at least work on, take it apart, and tell you what's wrong with it.
I want to reiterate that because I think before we started
got off
recording.
a tangent,
You can mill parts for older reels or whatever.
Yeah.
If you can't find a part, chances are you can make it for the customer.
I can make any part up to and including gears and handles. It's whether or not folks want to pay for the service because.
Right.
If I have to make a bushing or, a clip or something or, a special screw, which I've had to do a lot of special screws that you can't get anymore. And that's cheap, $10, whatever, $15, $20. And it's all based on machine setup and material costs and my time, right?
Yeah,
and
it's a business.
Exactly. And so like several reels I've come across where the gears aren't available and I can make them, but the cost for me to make a small gear is kind of pricey. And now I've had people have me do it because it's an heirloom reel.
Right.
It was their dad's, and I love that because, that allows me to give that to them to keep in there maybe pass on to their kids, and I love doing that. So, yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What this is the one I want to ask.
Yeah.
Is like what's the number one thing that you can do to try to keep that your reel in good shape? Is it washing it off at the end of the day?
Great question. Absolutely cleaning your reel, but it's how you wash it off, right?
Yeah, I need to do that.
Okay, and so
is it leaning it against the side of your boat and skirting it with the hose? Because that's what I do. I didn't think that was right.
In a bucket, upside down.
And if you go back over the last year, because I write articles for the Coastal Angler for David, right? And so most of my articles are about what not to do, right? Not what to do, but what not to do, because that's what I see every day. How people have done innocuous things that have caused major damage to their reels. Right?
All right, let's get into that.
So, what does everybody do? They get home, they wash the boat, or they get the reels out of their car if they're shore fishing, they don't have a boat, whatever. They stand them up against the house or against the porch railing, and they take a hose and they wear them out.
That's what I do 100% of the time.
Well, I turn mine over, and I don't know if that's right either.
Well, it depends on the brand, and so we'll talk about that, right?
Yeah.
So, even though reels are designed to be in water environments, they're not designed to be pressure washed with water, right? That high pressure water will penetrate the reels, and even though it's fresh water, all it's doing is basically forcing the salt and the sand inside the reel because it has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And on
Just
most
flushes it deeper down.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Now,
Hey, let me make this worse.
Well, I will say, of course, that doing nothing is worse than doing something, right? So if you're hosing it off, at least you're trying, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But this is going to sound awful, and I wrote this in the article, but the best way to clean your reel is to lay it down on the ground, not stand it up, because all of the orifices and different places where it can go will come in from the top. If it's laying down, like if you think of I don't know what reels y'all are familiar with, but like a Calcutta, right? Our standard Calcutta, the gold round reel Shimano, because I'm a Shimano guy. That's my brand.
Couldn't tell.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Thanks, Rocky. So, but they have drain holes in the bottom of a Calcutta. Most reels have drain holes. So if you turn that Calcutta over, there's 2 holes on either side on the round lobes, and that's for water to drain out because they know water is going to get in there, right? It's going to happen. So if you stand that up and the water runs right in those holes.
Okay.
And then everything settles to the bottom because you're going to leave it there to what? To dry.
That's right.
Everybody
That's
leaves
exactly
it there to
right.
dry. And
That's
so
exactly right.
if you were to hose it and then lay it down, a lot of that will come out, right?
Right.
Okay.
But if you leave it standing up, it settles to the bottom, and there's all kinds of neat stuff in there on the bottom because all of your drag and all that is on the bottom on the left side, and so it just sits in water.
Eats it up.
And then the because it's in water, the grains of sand and the different salt chlorides will get in your bearings, and it just goes to you know what happens then, right?
Yeah.
And so but the best way to clean your reels is to take a Windex bottle,
Okay.
right? That doesn't have Windex in it, clean it out and just put water in it, regular fresh water in it. And you can hose the rod down if you want, I guess, but I wipe everything down with a rag, and then I spray the reel with that spritz,
Just water.
and then wipe it clean with a lint-free rag.
Okay.
And that's it. See, if you spray it with the hose, it forces it into if you have a level wind reel, that's going to prematurely destroy your level wind. It's going to force it into the drain holes,
Right.
or
So you got to get away from the pressure of the hose.
Yeah, it's the water
and
pressure.
see, you'd think that was what was helping,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. And 99.9% of the folks, that's how they clean their reels.
Right.
If they clean them at all, their rods
Right.
and reels, right?
Right,
Because that's
right.
the other thing is you get the ones that have never seen any attempt to clean them, right?
Just locked up.
Yeah.
Well,
Fixed it.
they're so full of dirt,
Yeah.
and that little bit of prevention when you come home, and it's like anything else, your car, your boat, a little bit of care now saves
a
you
long
money
way.
later, right?
Yeah.
You've had, you're talking about the boat motor guy. I'm sure he told his folks, change that water pump every year, and
Flush it.
get your
Yep.
you change your
Run
fuel
it.
filter every year, and you're going to cut down on 90% of your maintenance, right?
Yep.
And it's a little bit of money up front that pays dividends in the end with not major catastrophes, right? Reels are the same way, and you talk about a reel service. So a standard like a Garcia 5,000. If there's nothing wrong, it's $20. It takes me about an hour to do it right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's about $20.
Now it's not broken. I just want you
Right,
to
just do a service on it,
yeah.
give it a tune-up. There's no parts to be replaced, and it's $20. Whereas if you don't clean it or you do some
Right.
stuff that's
A little
unsavory
abuse-
to
a
it,
little abuse.
now you're talking about pawls and bearings and maybe a gear here or there, and you're talking about adding $25, $30 to that $20 cleaning.
Yeah.
Right.
That service, and the other thing is I get asked a lot, how often should I bring these to you?
Mm-hmm.
And that depends on usage, right? I could say, bring them to me every year, or bring them to me every 6 months, which is all based on, if you're a charter boat captain,
That's gonna be a little different than
it's going to be
Hey,
different
and-
than somebody that just fishes, once a
Weekend.
week or weekends or a couple times a month, if you take care of your stuff. I mean, a yearly service is great, but that's not always required, Charter boat captains, definitely yearly, and they do. They bring, you'll get a box. I get boxes of reels. Hey, here's my, David will bring me 20 at a time, and some of the other guys that I deal with in Biloxi, and you get a crate full of reels, and that's
Right.
great because they understand, and we don't replace a lot of parts in those guys' reels, but you do. I mean, things go bad, bearings go bad. They do get stuff in them, and I can service bearings to some extent because I have like my ultrasonic cleaner that I use, and I have one set up for bearings with different chemicals in it, and you can take the shields off and clean them, but it's almost not worth it because you're better off just replacing the
order
bearings.
new
Just
ones.
order. Well,
Yeah.
and I stock. We stock a bunch
Right.
of
Uh-huh.
stuff. So again, to the quick turnaround, right? I don't like.
Waiting on-
I
waiting
don't
on-
like
to
waiting.
it.
I don't know about you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
But I don't like waiting for my car to be fixed, my boat to be
Right.
fixed,
Right.
or anything else to be fixed. So I try to, do the things that fix the things I don't like with what I can control, and fast turnaround, like I said, is a hallmark of my business because people want their stuff back.
Absolutely.
And what good does it do me to hold on to it
Right.
unless I'm busy? Now there's, like anything else, if you got 10 cars in the parking lot and you're
Right.
working on engines, it's going to take a while. But
Right.
and if it's regular stuff, I can get them. I've done stuff for people next day, and charter boat captains, I will bump to the head of the line. If
Yeah,
they say,
everybody
hey,
does
look,
that, yeah.
because they're making their living, or somebody.
Right.
I have an upcharge for expedited repairs, but I think this last year I've never charged
Actually
people, and they'll
charged
say,
it,
"Can you get this to me by the weekend? I'm going on a trip." Sure, man. I no problem.
Yeah,
right.
I work with people,
Right.
Yeah.
So.
You mentioned it here. You got a little setup here on the table.
yeah.
People that are listening to the audio of this, you can't obviously see it, but
No.
we're going to describe some of these things that you got here.
Oh, yeah.
Starting out with the ultrasonic cleaner.
Yeah.
Here. What do you use that? What does that do?
Well, I have 4 of these, and this is the smallest one just because it was easy to bring, and that's what I use for my bearings. Best way to clean stuff, gets everything off. And you can't just throw heavily greased stuff in here. You got to pre-grease it with a parts, degrease with a parts
Right,
washer.
right.
But I use aircraft parts cleaner in these, and it doesn't hurt any metals that are in reels: aluminum, brass, bronze.
Okay.
That's
It
the
doesn't
fluid
hurt
that's in the
plastic.
cleaner.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It's simple green, but it's not regular simple green. Eats aluminum. People don't realize. So it's aircraft parts cleaner made by Simple Green. It's a little bit more expensive, but it works really great. And you throw them in there. Standard time is 5 minutes. My big ones have heat, which is much better because the heat really gets stuff up. It gets so hot you can't put your hand in. I think it's like 180 degrees.
Wow.
But 5 minutes in there,
Yeah.
they're like they came from the factory.
Sweet.
And that's a big, if you just clean a reel with a brush and some spray and you leave a couple of particles in there, they're going to work themselves into
Yeah.
stuff and
Do it
and
right the
shorten
first
That's
time.
That's right. And I work on everybody's stuff like it's my own.
There you go.
Even better so, right? I'll cut corners on my own stuff, right? And I don't care.
Right.
But I don't do that with other people's stuff because my name is on the door, right?
That's
my
right.
name's on the shingle, and that's all I have to go by. And it's kind of like being a law enforcement officer and having your integrity. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Once that's gone, you're ineffective.
Yep.
And word of mouth and this social media stuff, which is incredible.
Blowing
is.
up.
It's incredible because it's free advertisement, right?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about Facebook and those different things, Twitter, whatever. Just the feedback from the boat show this week
Right.
I've gotten a ton of work just from the post we made of the boat show and little networking and stuff, but
Right.
it's fantastic.
Wait till you see what the brownwater episode
Well,
is
that's
gonna
right.
do for
That's
you.
right.
You better
have
hire
so
some
many
people.
real- yeah, you
That's
gotta-
right.
You better hire some
Well,
people.
Take the next month off and do
That's
number
fine.
reels.
That's fine, man. I'm all about it.
What else we got here on the table? I see you
We
got
got
some
all kinds of stuff. I use premium lubricants.
Okay.
Pen grease, which is the best. I've used different kinds over the years, and I still keep other. I have like 4 different brands, but this is my go-to. It doesn't dissipate. It doesn't lose its viscosity. Right. That's
That's
one
a
of those
fancy
$3
word.
words.
Yeah.
It's lubricity. Right. Those 2 words. And drag grease and. We've got an assortment of screwdrivers and files, and then we got some specialty. You got to have some specialty wrenches for some of these reels. And again, I could make these, but it's just easier to
Right.
go on eBay and buy one for $3. But
Right.
for your big pens, and you got to be able. That's the other thing when folks open these reels up, they'll use a pair of channel locks for let's say that nut there, and I know that when I get the reel because
it's all compressed.
when they say I've never opened that reel up, and I go,
You've been chewing on a nut?
I can't believe that because the chrome's gone off the piece and there's teeth marks in it. So I know at least you tried to take it apart.
Right. Or someone did. Maybe it
That's
wasn't
right.
you.
Maybe it wasn't
Maybe
you.
it wasn't
That's
you.
right.
It came from the factory
That's right.
like that.
That's right. And certain nuts, if you drag it down the road, are not going to hit the road, right? So that somebody put a wrench on there.
That's right.
Right.
The hammer, not very often used, and you notice the size of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of small.
It's
Little machine.
there's nothing like beating on another man's piece of equipment with a hammer,
Right.
right?
Just
but sometimes,
It happens.
especially with Corrados and Takatas, one of the bearings gets stuck. The pinion bearing will get stuck, and there's no other way to get it out. And
Stubborn.
that's what these blocks are for. These are actually gunsmithing blocks. I have several of these, but because it supports, if you do it correctly and with brass punches, not steel,
Right.
you can take the reel apart without damaging it, right? So that's what. And then wrenches, assortment of wrenches, and different things, and changeable bit screwdrivers, because every screw, like with a gun, screws are all different sizes, and if you use the right screwdriver, it doesn't slip out and scratch people's very expensive reels,
Strip
right?
out
Because a lot of these reels have regular head screws, which never. It's 2020 now, right? We just turned 2020. I don't know why we still make regular head screws in this world. I just don't.
Flathead.
Yeah.
Flathead,
it's-
a regular
I've
head.
I've seen people post that online too. Like,
that's-
what the hell are we
we're
doing
getting,
with
We're
this?
getting off on a retarded tangent here, but hey, Shimano and Penn and
Yeah.
Abu Garcia, stop using.
Switch to Phillips.
Switch to Torx, man.
Torx will work, too.
Torx or Star Drive. Those are the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
Or even Hex Head. Something that I'm not going to scratch this $280 reel's beautiful gold cover.
You think
on.
it's just cheaper?
I think the tooling, the way the world works is the tooling is already set up to make those screws.
So that's how it's gonna go.
You can't find a flathead, use a butter knife.
Well, and a lot of times too, like they got to keep making those screws for the older stuff too. So,
Right.
Yeah.
but it just and there's reasons. I mean, it's not they're just not doing it right.
Right.
But I do have many different. I have like 100 regular head blades in a set because if you get the one that fits nice and tight, you have less chance of slipping out and scratching
Yeah.
somebody's reel.
And you're
because-
working on, I'm sure, some super expensive reels too, right?
Very
All the way
expensive reels.
from regular stuff to really expensive, right?
I mean, you get into some 80 wides and some Abbots and these different reels, and they're $1,000 a piece. And,
Yeah.
And I'm doing on a reel like that, a full service on a 2-speed lever drag, 80 wide-ish, that's going to be $70, But it takes me a couple
Yeah,
hours.
but that's $1,000 reel.
But
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
It's
you
a
got to
big
look at it.
overhaul.
You got to look at it on a percentage. And I will tell you that the people that own that equipment don't care
Hell
how
no.
much it
Hell
costs.
no.
And then you start changing out drag washers in the 80 wide, and they're expensive.
It's better than going and buying a new one,
That's
right?
exactly right. That's exactly right. But if it's just like anything else, the right tools make all the difference.
Can you work on a Zebco 33?
Black Rhino push button.
You guys laugh?
Yeah.
So this
Is that a big part of your business?
Not a big part, but I worked on 2 this past week.
Yeah,
Really?
that's funny.
Absolutely. Now
That is the classic to me.
they
reel.
do, and I had
where
a green-
everybody starts.
I had a green one
Yeah.
when I was 5 years old that I caught fluke on up north, which is a big flounder, right? But that's all, and it worked.
Yeah,
they
they
work.
did the job.
Kids love them.
There's no better way to get a kid into fishing than
well,
Yeah.
the 2 I worked on last week were for an adult.
Really? Hey,
whatever works.
No, but I
Whatever
mean,
works.
he said, you know what? I don't bird nest them.
you're
This is
right.
true.
I said, of course, the drags ain't,
Nah.
Right.
ain't worth a damn. But you can actually upgrade those drags on those reels too.
Like
And they
a
do
trick-
make
a tricked out Zebco
they-
33.
Well, they do make high end ones.
Really?
They really do. And of course, I wouldn't buy one, but people do. And
Yeah.
we do work
Yeah.
on those too. And
I
work,
love
like
it
I
for
work
kids.
on anything.
Well, 100% for kids. Like I
Yeah.
say, that's a great way to
What-
get kids into fishing.
Right.
This
'Cause there's-
last I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
you,
no,
Joe.
no, no, no.
This last year, and I love. See, I'm like a history. I love history, man.
Same here.
I love looking at old stuff, and if you can't go back, you can't go forward.
That's
you,
right.
You
Yeah.
got to
Learn from it.
learn from history, right? I worked on a 1952 Shakespeare Sears and Roebuck
Wow.
bait casting reel this year. The guys over at Nelson Outdoors, who
Yes.
one of my drop-off locations, Mike and David. David had it, and I do anything for those guys. They were the
Yeah.
ones that started me out and having a drop-off spot, and I'll go.
They're in Pascagoula,
they're
right?
in Pascagoula, Market
They're
Street.
going to be working with us, right, Joey?
Yeah, they're a sponsor for
That's what I
the
for the tournament,
Sheephead
absolutely,
tournament.
for the
Yeah.
Sheephead Showdown.
Yep.
Heck
That's
yeah,
it.
man, heck yeah. But those are some great guys over there, and so David called me. He's like, "Hey man," he's like, "I got this old reel." He says, "I want you to look at it. It's been in the family for a while." He says, "It's not real smooth." Ha ha, right? Real
Yeah,
smooth. So
nice.
he
Yeah.
little plug there.
Yeah.
So I went over there and picked it up, and he had, and I've got pictures of it, which on the phone I'll show you guys later, but he had the original box, the original tools that came with it, the original
Wow.
grease, little oil container, the instructions. And this is like 1952,
Yeah.
and it actually said Sears and Roebuck Company on the side cover. And it was just old, and the grease, old reels, the grease turns to tar.
Yeah.
It gums
and
up.
the big perpetrator of that is Abu Garcia. I don't know what they used in the 80s in their reels, but it literally turns to road tar. And when people say, my button's not working, you know what it is? I'm like, yep, the grease is dry. And that's it's very rarely parts in those old reels, but it was so cool to work on that and see the history in the box and of course we got it working great, and they've got it up in the shop, and I love working on old stuff.
Is that the oldest one you've worked on? Do you know? You think?
That's the only one that I know the exact date of manufacture on it, because I Googled the serial number. Now, see, 20 years ago you couldn't Google the serial
Right.
number.
Yeah.
Now I can do those things and tell you all kinds of neat stuff
The
about your
internet's
reels.
cool.
Yeah, really. The internet's
It's a
real
force,
cool,
man. Growing up, like I told you, I'm 47. We had an Encyclopedia Britannica
Yeah.
on the shelf in the
Yeah.
living room, and if you wanted to know something, that's
You had
where
to
you
go
went,
there.
or you
Kids-
went to the library and got the microfiche.
We were talking about this
Card
the other
catalog.
day.
And
Dewey
4
Decimal System.
4
Kids,
years,
look that up.
4 years later, you could find the answer,
Yeah,
right? And,
yeah.
and it was hard to
37
cross-check
minutes
and
worth of work, to
know,
figure out something like
something
that.
that I can do in 2 seconds.
That's right.
And get all the information about it.
Yeah.
Albeit some of it's not true, but
Right.
you can filter that out. But it is a wonderful thing. And then the other part of the internet that's great is parts for these reels.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of these reels have discontinued parts, which I can make, but it's so much easier if I can just buy them for folks, right?
Yeah.
And I have many sources. And you can, if you can't find one, you just Google the part number, and there's a good chance somebody's got it. Now, some things they don't have, they just
Right.
don't have anymore. But it's amazing what you can find, and even go as far as for certain reels on eBay, you can just buy an old reel for $12
Just
and
for
get
parts.
the part you need out of
Yeah,
it.
just
Right.
for parts.
If it's somebody that has a reel they want fixed, and you work it out with them. But the internet's a great thing, man. It's a
Yeah.
great thing.
Yeah, referencing Chris again, he had that motor that his grandfather had for so long. What type of motor was it? I don't even remember now. But he was like, they just kept it in his garage. He was like,
Yeah.
somebody will need these parts
Oh,
for
yeah.
something.
Chrysler
engine. Yeah.
Oh, Chrysler's the old
Chrysler.
gold and white Chrysler.
Yeah, but like you say, that part, no telling
No.
what.
Somebody
that-
needs it.
Right. Somebody might pay high dollar for something like
And
that,
I mean, I have from all these years, right? I have what I call the boneyard.
I bet you got a
Because
pile.
I don't throw anything out, right? I'm real bad. My wife will laugh at it. She'll tell you. I keep everything because even anything metal or plastic, I can make stuff out of. So I
Right.
don't throw anything out. And I've got drawers full of stuff. But as far as reels are concerned, and I told her I got to make the shop bigger because I want to put a wall up with bins.
Yeah.
I have thousands of
bet.
old reels but you never know when those and I use those parts all the time. And
Yeah.
people are amazed. They're like, I've had this reel for 12 years. Can you? Oh yeah, I got that part. Well, you got that part.
You got a junkyard.
I have a
Basically.
junkyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got you want to need a
It
part,
takes
you
up a
go
lot
pull
less
it.
room than a real
Yeah.
junkyard, but
Yeah.
it takes up a lot of room, right?
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's sweet.
Well, that's a great service to have around here.
Appreciate
I'm
it.
glad you're doing it, and it sounds to me, people listening. I mean, honest guy, willing to go the extra mile for customer service, because that means a lot, right?
Yeah.
You could send something in or buy something from somebody online sometimes, and you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know where your stuff is going. You're local here.
Oh, yeah.
You're somebody they can talk to.
Absolutely.
You've got a Facebook page. They can reach right out to you.
And I don't. I always answer the phone.
What
Explain that process. So
Yep.
if I wanted my reel clean,
Right.
I give it to you. Come to me, or we meet up, or you have.
We can do that,
locations?
but I have worked out with some great partners along the coast for drop-off locations to help my customers out, where they don't have to just come to Pascagoula or try to meet me somewhere, which. And that's very unprofessional. Hey,
Yep.
let's meet in the parking lot, which I'll do that for some of my charter boat captains, right? If
Right.
they want to bring me a box or something. But I like to have things set up for folks. So we have right now I have 3 locations throughout the coast. Of course, like I said, Nelson Outdoors, fantastic partners, great guys, Mike and
Pascagoula.
David over there, Pascagoula Market Street, just south of Ingalls. I have in D'Iberville, you know the guys from Hull and Hitch,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Mike and Roy.
Yeah,
What
we
is
just
with the
met them.
tournament?
2
Yeah.
stand-up guys. You met them at the boat show. Also, some honest, hard-working guys over there in
Yeah.
D'Iberville, on D'Iberville Boulevard.
they got a
there.
nice little place over
They
there.
got
I
a
drive by it all the
fantastic
time. I haven't been
shop,
in yet,
man.
but I'm going.
Man.
I'm going.
And of course now they're expanding, right? They
Yep.
got apparel and they got fishing lures and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep.
And they're always expanding, and they do fantastic work over there on trailers. If you got trailer issues, you need to go see those guys because they can take care of you, and they also work pretty quick, right? They're not sitting there sitting on your stuff for a while. So they're a drop off location. And then just recently, a new place opened up, and I think you had him on here, Wicked Fish.
Yes.
Mike
Yes.
right
Yep.
over there, Wicked Fish, and
That's on
he's,
49 in Gulfport, north.
That's
North
great.
49.
He was looking for somebody, and we got in contact with each other, and they're also a drop-off location, and they're set up right. So I've got stuff there where we have service forms, we have tags, we have bags. You come in, you fill it out, and those locations, D'Iberville and Gulfport, I do on Fridays. I go Fridays, pick up and drop off whatever's there. I pick up whatever drop off, and you pay there. You do everything there, and so it's real convenient, you know.
Yeah.
And they're real great partners because it also brings them business, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We got people coming in there, and you can ask any of them. You know, people come in there for their real stuff that had never been in there, and that's fantastic for me too because it helps them out.
Everybody wins in that
everybody
situation.
wins, and like we talked about before we came on, you know, working together is the only way to go with this
Right.
stuff. You know,
100%.
social media, everybody benefits. You know, there's
Yeah.
no point in you know, kind of being a jerk and going against everybody. Just work together, man. It works
No,
out
there's
great,
enough.
you know?
There's enough out there for everybody to get a little piece.
There's
And
enough.
when you work together with people, I think you get more honey. You
Oh,
get more
yeah.
bees with honey.
You get more
over
bees with
vinegar.
honey than you do with
You know what
vinegar,
I mean?
right?
So
Oh, yeah. Oh,
that's
yeah.
a great way to live. You know what I mean?
And then I'll say this too, because most people don't know this, and we do ads for this, but I also do full rod repairs. You know, we do.
You mentioned that. Let's talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, I do anything on your rod. You know, tip tops, eyes,
anything.
reel seats, broken reel seats, grips, whatever.
Okay.
And in fact, I think we're making you all a rod for the
Tournament.
the tournament,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Nice.
For the first place.
That's
we're doing
right.
That we're doing the Sheephead Showdown.
Yeah.
That's
right.
Rod. It's going to be really nice.
It's gonna be awesome.
All decaled out with y'all stuff on it, and the
Oh,
the
man.
tournament's going to be fantastic.
That's going to be
Sweet.
dope.
So, and we can do that as well. So that's I'm like a one-stop shop for rods.
That is, man. You got all the bases covered. You're here local, so people that are listening, man, y'all reach out to them. You are, I know, on Facebook.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Real Smooth on Facebook,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
And are you on anything else that people need to know about? I mean, if that's the main spot.
Main
for
spot,
sure.
Coast Langler. You pick up a copy of Coast Langler. We're
Still
in
writing
there.
for that?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So people can,
We're still writing for that. We're always forcing my opinion on people on that.
So Nelson's Hull and Hitch.
Nelson's Hull and Hitch and Wicked Fish over on 49.
Go
Yes,
drop
sir.
your stuff off to him. Reach out to him on Facebook. Give the Facebook page a like.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
give
shoot
me a
him
like,
a message.
Man. Absolutely. And if you're not around here, it's funny because I had two gentlemen come up to me at the show from Louisiana that aren't close, and they said, "Can we send you stuff?" And I said, "Sure." I said, it's going to incur a little bit of a cost, but
Right.
sure. And they said, "We don't
Shipping,
care."
yeah.
They said, "We're not happy with the folks we got local, and we, sitting here talking to you, we like what you're about, and we want to send you some
Killer.
stuff. And so,
Yeah.
if you're not close, send it to me, man. We'll take care of it."
It reminds me of like, we do a music podcast here as well. Anytime you have an issue with an amp, if you know a guy or a guitar that works on that and they're local and they're honest and straight up, that is worth
Yeah.
a ton
Absolutely.
because you can send your stuff to him because it's going to happen. Stuff's going to
Oh,
break.
yeah.
It's-
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no way around it.
Yeah.
And it's a vital resource. So I can definitely understand that. Somebody
No
from the
doubt.
Slidell area saying, look, we like you. We want to use you. I don't mind paying what to ship a reel,
No,
extra 10 or 20 bucks. If
Yeah.
you're going to do a good job and take care of my stuff, that's, neither here nor there.
And it gets back to what I said in the beginning, that I'm only as good as the quality of service that I provide.
That's right.
And so,
As soon as that slips,
social
people
media,
find out.
social media is a double-edged sword, right? And,
100%.
and I think,
It can build you or kill you.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm going to get these numbers wrong, but I think in business they say, like, if you provide somebody good service, they're going to tell 2 or 3 people. But if you provide them bad service,
You're
you're going to
gonna
tell
tell
20
everybody.
people,
That's
right? And
exactly
so
right.
I always keep that in the back of my mind when I'm doing people's stuff, right?
I love it, man.
It's that's the way it is.
Tim, thanks for stopping
Yeah,
by
appreciate
today,
it,
guys.
man.
Having me,
People,
man.
go check them out. Real Smooth, Real Repair and Service on
On the hat.
Facebook.
Appreciate
Go
it,
check
guys.
it out, man.
Appreciate it.
Y'all give them a chance and let him take care of you.
Later.
Take care.